Summer is hot, so keep it cool with Edelbrock water pumps. Purchase any Edelbrock water pump and receive a free vintage-style t-shirt plus a $25 rebate check. Offer valid from July 1st to August 31st. Visit Edelbrock.com today for full details.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. And I guess the only good thing about the rain is that it's quiet while we can announce the retirement of one of the great drivers in the NHRA drag racing history, and I include that in all classes. Bill Reichert is with us today, and he's going to announce his active retirement from driving, but maybe not from the sport. We'll get to that in just a moment. Just to give you a little idea of some of the things that Bill has done, it's very appropriate that he announced his retirement here at this track, because it was here in 1992 that he first got his license in the top alcohol dragster class. As a matter of fact, Division III Director Jay Hullinger back there actually signed the license. And we think it's interesting that Bill's retiring and Jay's still working, so there's something wrong with that picture. But it's great to have him. Over the course of the year, Bill has pretty much been the standard by which all the others are judged in the alcohol dragster classification. Coming into this race, this will be his 202nd NHRA national event, which is the most of anybody in the class. He's got 5 NHRA World Championships. That's tied for the most in the alcohol dragster class with Rick Santos. And overall, for everybody that ever raced, it puts him in the top 10 for the most championships in National Hot Rod Association history. I'll tell you some numbers that Bill won't, because he's just too modest to tell. This is the way that he ran his entire career. His car always did the talking on the track, very quiet, low-keyed, and just dedicated to racing his car, and of course dedicated to his family. During the course of his career, Bill set the #1 qualifying spot 39 times, and that is the most ever in the history of the class. He recorded low elapsed time 37 times, and that's the most ever in the history of the class. He set top speed 35 times, and if you want to join in, that's the most ever in the history of the class. His overall record was 305 and 162. His 305 round wins are the most in the history of the class. In 28 national event wins, that is second best in the class history behind Rick Santos. 50 final rounds also, second most in the history of the class. He's got 54 divisional wins, #1 all time in the top alcohol dragster class, and 6th overall for everybody that's ever raced in the history of the sport. In the course of his career, he raced 167 different drivers, which will tell you the span of his racing career. And out of those 167, almost 100 of them never beat him. A lot of them are retired now because they never beat him. The interesting thing also about Bill is that it wasn't always the high water mark. Back in 1999 in Atlanta, I was announcing when he had just one of the most horrendous crashes that we had ever seen, not only in the class but in the sport. We didn't know what he was going to do to respond from that, but being the great drag racer that he is, not only rebounded, 4 weeks later came back, the national event in Columbus, and went to the finals in 2 different classes, the All-Star race and in the national event. So that was just 4 weeks later. So to rebound from that and come back just shows you the kind of racer that he is, the kind of man that he is. Mike Murmas is with us here today from the Bars Leagues folk, and Bill has been involved with the Bars Leagues folks actually since 1992, but on his car from 1994. That is a 20-year sponsorship in the alcohol dragster class. Not only unprecedented in that category, when you think about people that have been around the sport, to be involved with a company that is synonymous with cars like the Bars Leagues folks are, to do that for 20 years is just an amazing accomplishment. So on Bill's behalf, I want to thank Mike, his dad Bob, who had some cataract surgery, couldn't be with us here today, for your continued support. We know it's been a great two-way street for both of them. But with all of that, ladies and gentlemen, have a nice round of applause for one of the greats in our sport, Bill Reichert. And Bill, I hope I did all that. I couldn't read some of your writing real well on these, but I know you love bragging about yourself, but I was glad to be able to do it for you. First of all, before we talk about anything, tell us, the question everybody had is, why now? Why the retirement?
Thanks, Bob, for doing a good job of talking about me. It sounds pretty good when somebody else says that. The reason I'm retiring is I've got back problems, and it's just getting worse over the years. And it's not as comfortable in the car as it used to be and stuff, so we figured this is the right time to stop.
When you're not racing, what do you do? I mean, people look at the level that you've attained and think, well, this could be a full-time job for you, but it's not.
Yeah, I also run a machine shop, Reichert Engines, and we do all sorts of automotive machine work and stuff like that. We've been in business for almost 30 years, I think, now. It's been quite a while, and we're doing real good at that, and that keeps me busy. I can probably concentrate a little bit harder on the business now that I don't have a race car that I bought me down so much, but we'll see what happens.
Got a great family too, his wife Gloria, son Andy, and daughter Ashley. Got some grandchildren now too, huh, to spoil.
Yeah, we got three grandchildren altogether now, 2 girls and a boy, and the boy is the youngest, 6 months, and they're definitely keep my wife energized, especially. She babysits all 3 of them, so she's got plenty to do, but she don't have as much time as she used to. We love the kids to death, and it's really fun to have grandkids.
The key to success is having a good team, having good support. You had that from your family. You had that from the folks at Barnsley. Lane Automotive has helped you out for almost as long as I can remember, and it really is a blessing to be able to do that and to compete at the level that you did.
It seems like most teams have trouble getting the sponsorship deal, so that's definitely the key, you know, and we were really glad to have Barnsley sign up way back in '94, and just an amazing relationship between us. And those guys have done a lot for me emotionally and financially, and they were always there with me with them, and they're truly a good bunch of people.
And what's it like for you to be announcing your retirement here at this racetrack? I mean, being a Division III guy, you probably raced here more than anybody else in the class, from the Lucas Oil Division races to the national events, having licensed here and everything. This has to be a special weekend for you.
Well, it definitely is. It's kind of weird retiring. It seems like, you know, am I really going to stop? You know, I don't know what to think about that, but I guess time will tell. And hopefully, if we can sell the car and sell it as a turnkey and be tuning it, that would really be a good end to it, I think. I think I can do something a good job.
Now, in the perfect world, you would sell car, truck, trailer, tune-up, and then go with them. Would that be the first on your wish list?
Yes, that would be the way I'd like to do it the most. And if we can't do it that way, then we'll part it out, and maybe I can just find a job as a crew or something.
Over the last couple of years, the A fuel cars, which we call them, have really been making some tremendous runs. You have helped some of the other teams, right? Have you lent your assistance or sold your tune-up, or what have you done?
Yes, we've done all of that. We've sold the tune-up to begin with, and now we help people from time to time. Jeff Field is a good example. He's from Canada and stuff, and he does pretty good. He's one of our crew guys, and he learns a lot right there, and it's kind of fun to watch somebody who's new come up, and he's been running some fabulous numbers on the mile-per-hour end of it and stuff, so he's a good friend, and real happy to see him doing well.
We talk about racing, of course, here in the Division III area. Over the span of your career, you've raced against some of the best, with Chuck Baird, Keith Stark, and things like that. Is there any one opponent that you really relished racing the most?
Well, I relish racing anybody, I guess, but we definitely had our hands full with Chuck Baird. He gave us a run for our money. I didn't like him much personally, but he taught me a lot. He taught me how to win races because of the devotion he gave it, and that showed me that's how you win. You have to give it everything.
For those that didn't know Chuck Baird, he and Bill could not be further removed if they tried. You know, Bill's quiet and low-key. Chuck's car was called the Wild Side, and that'll pretty much that. But he had one of those supercharged cars there. We don't like them anyway, do we?
Well, back then I had one car also, but he was definitely the guy to beat. You know, we won a championship in '94, I believe, the divisional championship, and raced him in the final for the championship and won it. And that was what I would consider the turning point in my career. Then it showed me that I could win and I could succeed at this sport.
And for all the things that you've done, is there any one race or one moment that stands out as the highlight of your career? I mean,
that race right there was at Bowling Green, Kentucky in the fall, and my daughter was there, and I remember holding her in the winner's circle and celebrating the championship. That's one of my favorite ones.
Do you have any questions for Bill?
Is the retirement effective at this weekend or at the end of the year?
No, it's at the end of the year. We're scheduled to run the Reading would be our last race. We also possibly could go to the divisional at Gainesville, but that's a possibility. The Reading race is for sure.
Okay.
Why are you going to sell the team? Have you not considered just fielding the team and putting a new driver in there?
Yeah, but I've always said if I'm going to spend my money on this thing, I'm going to drive it, you know, and I love to drive it, and I just wouldn't be comfortable doing it that way.
How much, it's interesting, there's a lot of people that drive the race cars, and to them, that is not the end-all and be-all. How do you compare the two? You tune it and you drive it. Which, in the perfect world, which do you prefer?
My son does a lot of the tuning over the phone and stuff like that, so I don't tune it 100% anymore. And it's just a fun car to drive. A A-field car is fairly easy to drive. It don't do nothing too awful to you, and it's just an amazing car to drive with that kind of power level and stuff. And that's just what I like most is driving.
I'd be a little remiss if I didn't ask you about the rules, because it's always been tough with the A-fuel cars and supercharged cars. It seems to be about as close now as they can get it. Do you agree or not?
Yeah, over the last couple of years, it's up and down a little bit, but it has been overall pretty darn close.
Other questions?
Bob, did you mention that he has the top speed and lapse time in the class?
Yeah, you had a pretty quick and pretty fast run too, huh?
Yeah, in Houston there at that event in 2007, we went a 5:10 with a 3, I think, and we went a 2:84, 175, and that's the fastest 2 runs that have been made, and we still currently hold the record.
Other questions? Well, Bill will be available for some questions and comments here. I want to thank you very much. And again, nice round of applause. One of the best in the business, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Reichert.